Since its opening on the 29th of April 2010, the Clarence-Rockland Museum has received many new things, or should I say old things, and this is exactly why we're going to talk with Monsieur Gilles Chartrand to talk to us a new event that's going to happen right here in our museum. So, Mr. Chartrand, what is this novelty you want to talk to us about?
Well, what you will hear is something about a young lady that did something 9 years ago that has never been done, and it will never be done again.
So, what did she do exactly?
Well, this young lady, she ran across Canada. It took her exactly 7 months and a half to run 7,358 kilometers. And she had no vehicle with her. She ran alone, and she had a backpack weighing between 30 to 35 pounds. And later on, she got a kind of baby stroller to carry her backpack. But she had to sleep outside with a small tent in a sleeping bag. And sometimes the weather was below freezing point. When she started on April 15th, 2007, from St. John, Newfoundland, Labrador, it was about -10. So the first night she was in her tent and she was asking herself, what on earth am I doing here? And at some occasion she had doubts, but she was willing to go as far as possible because it was a cause. She was doing this for a cause.
What was the cause she was doing this for?
Well, she noticed that millions of dogs and cats in good health are killed every year. They are euthanized. So she wants to have people realize that there's a way to control this, not to kill the animals, but to have them sterilized so that there won't be an overpopulation of cats and dogs. But that will take a lot of money and a lot of time too. But it has to start somewhere. So she decided to do something about it.
So who is this lady who did that?
This young lady, I know her for a lot of years because she played for the Alfred Brumball team, who were the Canadian champions in 1989 in Winnipeg, Brumball champion of Canada, and she played 2 years for this team. And she lives now in New Orleans, so she's a local girl.
Oh, it's pretty amazing that somebody local would do that. And she wrote a book about it too.
Yes, she wrote a book and I read it 4 times. The first time I took about 10 days to read it. And when I finished the book, I was crying. Because, would you believe how many people were waiting for her when she reached Vancouver, BC? 1 person. I was crying. I was mad. Because the newspaper, the radio stations, the TV stations, they just didn't care about that. Because she was not backed by big companies like the Cancer Society or the Heart Society. And some of these companies will back you up because they make a lot of money with that. But as she was running alone, this was not interesting for her. She was completely forgotten. So that's why when I read that book, I was a bit mad.
And she's going to come to this museum in Rockland, right?
Yes, she will be coming here on April 16th. That's exactly 9 years plus 1 day when she started her trek from Newfoundland, Labrador on April 15th, 2007. So that's the 9th anniversary.
So on April 16th, she'll come here and sign the books and talk to people and explain her experience?
Yes, and I want to have some newspaper here, and also some TV station, and also some radio station. I don't want to have the same experience that she had 9 years ago, because this, I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that.
So it'll be quite the experience to have this in our museum in Rockland.
Oh, yes. Well, you know that she came here a few weeks ago, and she had a small meeting with the lady with the Vision newspaper, and she will be writing an article later on. But the problem is that who will be interested enough to do something about it? about this project. But now we have seen that in the newspaper, I see that there is a result coming out of this. People are realizing that they can do something. And this starts with us. It's not the dog's fault, it's not the cat's fault that there is an overpopulation. It's us that we just leave them like this, and they do what they have to do.
So even if there was only one person at the finish line, she did do an impact with the dogs and cats.
Well, it took a while because she was followed with a computer, and she received messages from all across Canada, but these people could not be there in Vancouver for the finish line.
So if they weren't there in Vancouver, they were still there with her, like, across Canada. So it's pretty amazing to see, like, everybody just bonding together through this experience for her.
Well, we see some results coming out from what she has been doing. And I asked her, if you have a daughter that is your age when you started this, and she tells you that she would like to do what you did, what would you do? I said, no way, I would tie her up, because at some occasion, when you read the book, you will have goosebumps, because it took miracles for her to finish her trek. And she encountered a lot of angels, people who were helping her through the whole trek, and people sometimes were driving 50 miles out of their own way to come back and see what they could do for her. They brought her to the house, and then they brought her back on the highway. So it's just incredible. In the Rockies, we had, she had a message from above that it was in a very, very dangerous area. Once she was almost struck by a vehicle. That was the first message. It's dangerous. The second one, she was touched by the mirror of a truck that went by her about 17 miles an hour, maybe more than that. And the third time, she had to jump over the railing not to be struck. So she said, number one, it's dangerous. Number two, it's really dangerous. And number three, get out of the way. So when I continued reading the book, I got goosebumps because when she turned around a bit farther up, there was a bus stop. And guess what? A bus was there waiting to leave. So she took the bus, and within about a few miles, two vehicles crossed each other. There was not even a feet, one foot on each side. On one side it was the mountain, and on the other side it was a 2,000 drop, 2,000 feet drop. If she had been there, she would have been killed. So she received three messages, and she listened to them.
So where can we buy this book? Because it sounds really interesting.
Well, we have some books here, and she will be here to sign the books. Yes.
So on April 16th, here at 687 Laurier Street in Rockland, she will be here to talk about the experience in her book.
From 1:30 to about 5:30, and we'll have a small lunch so people could stay and talk with her. So I hope that there will be a lot of people that will come and see her, because this is something that we would never see again. Never.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Mr. Chartrand, to tell the population about this great event happening here in our small, city, just region in general.